I don't get it. Chill! Watch this.
Hey there! Are you facing difficulties in determining the limit of a function, specifically on tabular and graphical approach? If yes, well, don't worry because we got your back.
But first, what is a limit of a function? Well, the limit of a function is a fundamental concept in calculus and analysis concerning the behavior of that function near a particular input.
Let's start with tabular approach. Let's have f of x equal to 2x, where a is equal to 6. Let's draw a table first. On this side, we have the table of values where x approaches number 6 from the left. We'll start with 5 onwards since it is the nearest value or number from the left as it approaches number 6. As you can see, our value increases since the value must be as near as possible to number 6. And to get the value of y, we'll just substitute the values of x on the given function or equation. So the first one would be 10 since 2 multiplied to 5 is equal to the said number, and so on.
Now, let's have the table of values as x approaches number 6 from the right. We'll start with number 7 since it's the nearest value or number from the right as it approaches number 7. As you can see, our value decreases since the values must be as near as possible to number 7. And to get the value of y, we'll just substitute the values of x on the given function or equation. So the first one would be 14 since 2 multiplied to 7 is equal to the said number, and so on.
Now, let's look for the limit of f of x as x approaches 6 from the left. To know the answer, look at the last value under y. Since it is not a whole number and can be rounded, the answer would be 12. The same goes with the limit of f of x as x approaches 6 from the right. Just like earlier, look at the last value under y. It is not a whole number and cannot be rounded. The answer would still be 12. Now, let's look for the limit of f of x as x approaches 6 from both sides. To simply answer this, look at the limits of 6 from left and right. If it has similar values, then the limit of the function of x as it approaches 6 from both sides would be the same. However, on other cases, if the left and right values aren't the same, this would mean that the limit does not exist.
Easy, isn't it? Now let's take a look on graphical approach. Now let's take a look on the limits we need to determine. First, limit of f of x as x approaches negative 3 from the left. Based on the graph, the answer would be negative 3 since the value adjacent to negative 3 on the x-axis is negative 3 as well based on the y-axis. Let's have another one. Let's look for the limit of f of x as x approaches negative 3 from both sides. In here, the limit does not exist since the value of the lines and curves that are adjacent to negative 3 has different values. This ends at negative 3 while this ends at negative 1. Let's have another one. Let's look for the limit of f of x as x approaches negative 4 from both sides. Let's base it on this one. The answer would be negative 3 since it is the value on the y-axis that is adjacent to the negative 4 on the x-axis. Now, let's look for the limit of f of x as x approaches negative 2 from both sides. Based on this one, the answer would be negative 2 since it is the value adjacent to negative 2 on the x-axis.
You see, this lesson is not that hard as long as you are willing to learn. I hope that you learned something.
Oh, it's
easy.